In most of the county conventions, I took a moment, closed my eyes, and envisioned those candidates as we started to be introduced to them and recruited them, and what it would look like in Utah if they were elected. And man, just take a minute and think about that. That would be something that this state would be so proud of. And I do want to take one moment, though, and talk about one of the true messages of what's happened in this state as the Republican Party has engaged ever more deeply every day in arrogance. In the dead of winter, we started to look at Republican moderates who we knew were having their arms not just twisted but broken off by a speaker and a Senate majority leader. The Senate president seems to do it behind the scenes, but the other guy does it right in your face. And we had serious conversations with many of them. But there was one, and we think there will be more, who after we had a number of conversations out in the southwest part of the valley in Harriman, came to us and said, I'm going to do it. And he attended his first mass meeting after 40 years as a moderate Republican and said within 10 minutes I had never felt more free in my life to be who I truly am. One of the ways we will make our mark in November is to be proud and support the election of Dave Hogue to his old seat as a Democrat. I've been asked to pass on one note of interest. A good friend of many of us, Andy Gallegos, has had some serious health problems the last few days, and we just want the family to know that our thoughts are with Andy. He's been a tremendous supporter of the party and what we stand for many, many years. It is time now for us to move to the nomination process for our congressional candidates. In the 1st Congressional District, we know, well, I don't know if anybody in this room really knows who the current congressman is. That's what I've found. And Governor Schweitzer last night talked about a little bit in a candidate forum about his dealings with that guy. What's his name? But early this year, in early March, during candidate recruitment, we had Rob Miller working with the county officers, and I was making some follow-up calls. And there was one guy we called about running for the legislature, and he says, forget that, put me on the ballot for Congress. And we liked that confidence. And I will tell you, throughout northern Utah, I hear reports all the time that the candidate that we will proudly nominate today in the 1st Congressional District is resonating with not just our Democrats, but moderates and Republicans. Republicans who know that what's-his-name needs to come home and do what's-his-thing. I am very proud to nominate or to bring to the floor our 1st Congressional District candidate, Morgan Bowen. The next congressman, and we will know his name.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name's Morgan Bowen, and I am going to be your next congressman in District 1. My opponent gave a speech about 4 weeks ago, and in that speech, he made a statement, something like this: sometimes inaction is the best thing. He continued in his speech to say, don't expect me to do very much. Well, my friends, on November 4th, 2008, We will not expect Rob Bishop to do another thing for the state of Utah in this congressional delegation. As I travel up and down this district, I am impressed with the people I meet. I am impressed with the enthusiasm of this Democratic Party. My father was a very strong Democrat, born and raised in Spanish Fork, and told me of glory days in the state of Utah when the Democrats were the majority party. We will once again be the majority party in this state, and we will work nonstop to see that reality. Now, my friends, a couple of things I think you need to know. First of all, some of you may know that I am a seminary teacher. That's what I do for a living. And before that, I worked in private business and sustainable agriculture, helping farmers get rid of pesticides and going organic and cleaning up our environment. But I'm going to put my teacher hat on here for a moment, and you today are my class. Are you ready for your instructions? Okay. I'm going to refer to a story that I taught just a little while ago, and it's called the story of David and Goliath. You heard that story before? David was a young boy, had a lot of faith, a lot of energy, and didn't know the meaning of the word, no, you can't do it, okay? He didn't understand that. Goliath was this giant. He had money, he had backing, he had a huge army behind him, and he was pretty formidable. Nobody was willing to take him on. Well, David went out with courage, with faith, and he picked up some rocks, put them in his pocket, took a sling, and took that giant down. Remember that story? Okay? Well, here's what you need to do, class. What you need to do is you need to pick up some rocks this year. You need to pick up a rock of donating to some candidates this year. You need to pick up a rock of putting a sign on your yard. You need to pick up a rock of going door to door and talking to your friends.